Aloha, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for the virtual meeting, one of two, for the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan from the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. My name is Cedric Duarte. I am a contractor with the department assisting with this program plan update. I'll be facilitating tonight's meeting. Hold on one second. I'm gonna have to start over here. Let's try to get everybody admitted. Okay. Okay, once again, welcome to the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan Meeting Update. Cedric Duarte from the Kalaimoku Group, a contractor with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, assisting with tonight's program plan update. Dialing in this evening from Eva Beach. I'm joined by Gigi Kyrell from DHHL's Planning Office. We're going to be talking about the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan. And tonight, we'll talk a little bit about what the NHDPP is. For some of you who have maybe participated in the past, this may be familiar. For many of you, this information may be brand new. This plan has not been updated by DHHL since 2014, so it's due for a long overdue update. We'll talk about the authorization, what allows DHHL to conduct this plan through the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act and the Hawaii Administrative Rules. We'll discuss a little bit about where it fits within the overall DHHL planning system, and we'll share with you some past accomplishments and highlights. And very importantly, towards the end, we'll talk about our survey because everyone will get a homework assignment tonight where we'll ask you to complete a survey after hearing some information. And then we'll save some time at the very end for Q&A. We want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to ask us some questions, so we provide some feedback. Very important, one of the things that we're going to talk about, or one of the things we're not going to talk about a lot tonight is homestead development. So you'll see here we have the difference between homesteading versus programming. So this particular program doesn't have anything to do with homestead development. So we won't be discussing any updates relative to the $600 million allocation of funds for homestead development or the 28 projects that Hawaiian Homelands is working on throughout the states. We won't be talking about homesteading, but we will be talking about programs and services that fall under Purpose 3 for the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, which is rehabilitation of the Native Hawaiian community. So we'll be sharing with you what the program's about, some of our past accomplishments and highlights, and we'll talk a little bit at the end. So I'm going to hand the presentation over to Gigi Kyrell from the Planning Office, and then she'll walk you through the presentation, and I'll be back a little later for Q&A.
Thank you, Cedric. Everybody can hear me okay? Yes?
Can hear you.
Okay, good. For those of you I haven't yet met, my name is Gigi Kyrell. I'm with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands Planning Office. I manage the DHHL Community Grants Program. Why we are here today, this evening, is to update the DHHL Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan. And again, I thank you for taking time out from your families, probably dinner time at this point, to join our meeting tonight. What is the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan? It is a long-range plan that guides the department's programs for Native Hawaiian beneficiaries, all beneficiaries, applicants, and lessees. It is a 2-year document that we update every year. And as Cedric mentioned earlier, our last update was almost 10 years ago. So it is quite overdue for a major update. Next slide. The legal foundation for us to be able to do this plan does come from the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. It is actually purpose number 3, which is rehabilitation of Native Hawaiians for community and economic development. As we are also a state government agency, we must follow the Hawaii Administrative Rules. It outlines the procedures for what this plan is, what the content is, how it is put together, and who approves the plan, which is the Hawaiian Homes Commission. Next slide. So the department does have a pretty robust planning system overall. The department does not do anything without having a plan. We need to see and project what we're going to do in 20 years. And then today, it helps us to determine what steps to take to get there. And this is our planning system. At the very top, the first tier, it's called the general plan. It is a 20-year outlook for the department, and it's a very broad policy document of the kinds of things we work on throughout the department. In the second tier, on the left-hand side, is the strategic program plans. This is where the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan fits. It is one of many department strategic plans. On the right side of this diagram are the land use planning documents. And this is about the land use, physical characteristics of the land and land zoning, such as homesteading, commercial, agriculture, etc. We're going to be focusing on the left side of this diagram for tonight, primarily talking about programs. And below the next tier, in the third tier, is what's called the regional plans. Many of you might have already participated in these. The regional plans are specific to your region, your geography. So here on Oahu, we have several. For example, there's the Kapolei Regional Plan that touches 4 homesteads. There's the Waimanalo Regional Plan, Papakolea, Kevalo, and Kalawahine are all considered one region. So they have one regional plan. And there are several more on Oahu. These are specific to your community. The communities go through a process facilitated by the planning office to identify community priority projects, usually about 5 priority projects that the communities actually vote on. And then this becomes part of that plan. So this plan is clearly from the community. And it's more of a 5 to 8 year outlook into the future. And at the bottom row is what we call the implementation tools. So as a government agency, we make lots of plans, just like the state has a general plan. The counties have general plans, water plans, and other plans, but they don't go anywhere unless there are implementation tools. The big one, of course, is funding. That is where it'll help us to implement and make these plans actionable. The second is legislation. Sometimes, because we are both the Hawaiian Homelands Trust as well as state government agencies, we're governed by the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, which is a federal act, and we are a state agency. We go through an identity crisis. And so every once in a while, we do have to go to the legislature and amend certain state laws so that it can help the department to implement plans for beneficiaries. Because again, we fall under the Federal Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, and that's where some of the conflicts are with the state. And then lastly, the last tool is what's called land use. If there are projects that involve land, we need to make sure those projects have the correct zoning. So is it a community use, a commercial use, an agricultural use, light industrial, etc.? So for funding that I mentioned earlier, this is where one of the roles you can take as beneficiaries. Help us. Help us with going to the legislature and other funders and voicing what services and programs you would like to see the department administer. And then we as staff, we can do the technical write-ups, the cost estimates, etc., and put it in a package and be able to have a conversation with potential funders like the legislature. But this really starts with you folks. You know, you have the ideas, you know what's needed in the community. You live it every day. Your children live it every day. Generations live it every day. So you're much more closer to what's needed, what are priorities in your community, that we can go and raise money for. So please help us down at the legislature. Can you imagine? There's 10,000 existing lessees and about 30,000 applicants. That's 40,000 beneficiaries. What other community in Hawaii can say that? That all 40,000, if we can speak with one voice, go down to the legislature and ask for funding, ask for the changes in the legislation, that's a powerful, powerful voice. 40,000 beneficiaries. No other community in the state can say that. And your voices mean a lot more at the legislature. You are voting members of the state. You have representatives and state senators that you can reach. And I encourage you to help us and to participate in the funding process, as we can speak as one voice in support of the trust and all its beneficiaries. Next slide. Traditionally, the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan is funded by what's called the Native Hawaiian Rehabilitation Fund. It is one of the department's many trust funds to serve beneficiaries. Unfortunately, this funding source has been declining in the recent years. It is based on 30% of the state receipts derived from former sugarcane lands and state-issued water licenses. So as we know, sugar has gone away. Water licenses, the state has not been issuing anything new. So 0 of 30% is 0. So we have not been able to replenish this fund for the last few years, and it's down to about $3 million. And this is the first year we are not authorized to spend any NERF funds. So it's been a tight funding year for us, and we need to kind of kick up our efforts to look for other funding and hopefully a steady stream of funding so we can continue the good programs and services that we can deliver for beneficiaries. Next slide. So here are some examples of accomplishments and highlights that we have been able to do under previous Native Hawaiian development plans. Again, these are just examples of the many programs and services we have offered over the years, and a couple of them we are able to continue because we do have the funding. So the first one is one of the biggest programs. It's our Community Grants Program. Traditionally, this has been at a level of $1 million for years, at least 15 years that I know of. Then, starting in 2022, it jumped up to $5 million. Now, today, in 2026, it is up to $10 million in grants to support homestead community priority projects, primarily identified in the regional plans, but as well as anything new that has come up in communities and community capacity building. So if you're looking for board training, strategic planning, anything like that, we still offer the smaller capacity building grants. And this is a tremendous opportunity. I mean, usually budgets go down. This is an area that the budget has gone up significantly. So we hope to maintain this level moving forward. But this is the first year that it's practically doubled to $10 million. And we continue to have this program. We just finished the most recent grant cycle application process. It closed in January. We received $20 million worth of applications, 50 applications, which is the most we've ever seen. However, we only have 10 million in funding. So we can only fund 10 million and we have to deny the other 10 million. The good news is now we have an argument. We can go down to the legislature and say, you guys gave us 10 million, which we've used up, but we still have this other 10 million of good proposals directly from communities with specific proposals, projects, and budgets. This is how much it costs. So, can you please give us another 10 million so we can fund all these projects that came from the people themselves? Now we have specific data and specific information that's way more meaningful, and we can have a conversation with the ledge and with other funders. And again, this is an example of where we need your help to help us identify what these projects are. And if you do have cost estimates, or if we can help put that together, then we have something specific that we can show a funder. Another popular program we used to have, we don't have this anymore. It's called the Kulia Ikanu'u program. It was a comprehensive community nonprofit training and technical assistance program. So everything from how to start a nonprofit, how to obtain your 501c3 a federal status, strategic planning, grant writing, lots of grant writing workshops, budgeting, project planning, etc. So we used to do a lot of trainings, offer a lot of trainings, workshops on every island to make it accessible to any beneficiary. You don't have to be on the board of a homestead association. If you're on a board of another nonprofit or you're just simply interested in this area, you are welcome to join in, and it was made available to everybody. These workshops were very popular, and many on-island workshops, people who went asked about other islands. And so what we started to do based on that feedback from beneficiaries is we started to offer a once a year statewide gathering to bring at least 2 leaders from every homestead, every island into one location so they can talk with each other, share stories, talk about successes, challenges they faced in the community projects, how they overcame that challenges, and just really network and learn from each other. And this is the best learning, right? Is from beneficiary to another beneficiary. But that came from people who attended the workshops. They wanted to have that once a year event. We also had budget puvalus once a year where homesteaders and beneficiaries came to learn about the DHHL budget, how the budget is structured, how we spend the funds, get their input on priorities they would like to see, and also talk about, again, community projects that need funding. So those are popular as well. The last budget Puvalo we did was 2018, but we simply don't have the resources anymore. This program was cut. It ran for about 6 years straight, and we have heard from many beneficiaries in these meetings that we're holding to bring this program back because it was very beneficial and helpful, and people had a good time because it was good training and good workshops. Next slide. Scholarships. We used to offer scholarships for college students, and another type of scholarship we used to have came from Chaminade University, where they gave us some funds for their programs at their school. And most of the scholarship program was coming through the Hawaii Community Foundation. They're a very big funder. And what's neat about the foundation is they also process other smaller foundations and their funds. So they're kind of a one-stop shop for private foundation funding. So students would apply there, and they would review them and package them and send them to the department, and then we would bring them up to commission for approval. So again, that was a popular program. Due to budget funding cuts, it was not we were not able to continue it. The next program is a technical assistance program. This is specifically for ag lessees and pastoral lessees. We currently do have this program. It started out small. It started out with a partnership with the University of Hawaii College of Tropical Ag on Molokai. They assigned one full-time agent to work specifically with our lessees to help them develop their farm plans, ranching plans, how to get funding for fencing, other things on their property, how to get other technical assistance elsewhere, uh, the type of soil analysis of the type of soil you have, the types of crops to grow, produce to grow in the type of area you're in. So this program was very successful on Molokai, and the agent was very well liked and worked well with our beneficiary. In fact, he was a beneficiary himself, actually, now that I remember. And so we expanded it to the Big Island. So we have a full-time agent there, and she's doing gangbusters as well. Lots of trainings and workshops with our ag and pastoral lessees. Um, and then we expanded it again this year. We have a full-time agent on Maui. So this program, because NERF funds was declining, we were able to move this program to a different trust fund. So we still have it today. And it was all, a lot of it was based on feedback from the beneficiaries themselves. They wanted this service. It was a good service. So they asked us to continue it. And so we were able to find a way to keep it and to find a different funding source for it. And then lastly, we used to have a very comprehensive homeowners assistance program, or HOPE. This is primarily for applicants. And this was our housing counseling programs, our financial literacy classes, credit counseling, post home ownership, because of course your responsibility for the lease does not end once you purchase a home. You need to maintain your credit, pay your water bills, pay your mortgage payments, etc. So there was an element of post-home ownership counseling. We still have a little bit of this program today. It's much smaller just because the budget kind of shrunk. But it is important to help prepare families before they get into a project lease or any other type of lease. We're finding that preparing families at least 5 to 6 years ahead of time to have increase their chances to be financially qualified for an award. So this is an important program. I just wish, there's such a bigger need now with all these project leases that we're doing, we've been pretty aggressive with the project leases, issuing those more and more. So, we really should beef up this program if we can. Next slide. And then lastly, every once in a while, we were able to leverage our dollars by partnering with other agencies who gave us some funding, some limited funding. With DBED, they gave us funding for community economic development. So we did a lot of business planning for nonprofits. How, as a nonprofit, how do you start a business? Um, Operational plans, financial plans. Um, NeighborWorks is a national nonprofit. They offered us a bunch of training scholarships to go to their um, conference events on the mainland for a week. And it's the same as many of our homestead associations. They're all community volunteer boards, and they spend a week together in different classes, again, on things like how to get a project going, how to community organize, um, grant writing training. And there was also an element of field trips where you could actually go and see an actual project, like a transitional housing project, a community garden project, that was uh, implemented by a community-based nonprofit. And so homesteaders went um, and interacted with other community volunteers from across the nation, every state, including the tribes. There were many tribal representation there as well, who were part of community groups. So that ran for about 6 years. So we did have a lot of leveraging opportunities. We did apply for a small federal grant, and that brought us a leadership program. So everything from communications, how to work with people that are a different work style than you, project planning. And that training, again, was open to anybody. You actually don't even need to be a nonprofit. That was for any individual beneficiary. And we did at least one class on every island. And I know a couple of islands did a couple classes, but it was pretty intense. It was one weekend per month. And then once you completed the classes, as a group, you would work together and implement a small project in your community so you can quickly apply your new skills, new knowledge learned at the training, and get a little success under your belt. And that's important. When you go through a training program or go through school, you've got to keep working at those skills and knowledge, and get some success under your belt to build that self-confidence to continue pursuing other projects in your community. And this is again where we need a lot of your help. We did a little bit in the past, but now we're gonna have to kick up our efforts to leverage our dollars and be able to work with what we got. But we need partners, and that includes you. As individuals, please partner with us. As organizations, homestead associations, any other nonprofits out there that work with our beneficiaries, provide services to our beneficiaries, you all can be partners with us. Next slide. So again, why we are here today, we're updating the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan, and your input is needed. Again, updating this plan, the information really comes from you. You represent the community. You are the beneficiaries of the trust. So we are asking what programs Um, would you like to see us keep going? The community grants was popular. Knock on wood, we still have it. The Kulia program was popular, but that ended due to budget cuts. There were many, many programs offered in prior years. And so are there any ones that you guys like or would like to see us do more of? You know, do we need to make it more of an effort in the Kulia program to make sure there's more outreach and people are more aware of the schedules, how to sign up, etc. Is there anything new? The plan is so old. Um, uh, People have changed, beneficiaries have changed, the environment has changed. Um, this is the time to make some major updates to the plan so that it currently reflects today's community needs, what you folks are seeing is needed in the community, what you're feeling as an individual beneficiary, as well as with your family. Is there something you wish the department would help with in terms of a service or a program? Just throw it out there. We're looking for ideas. We're really just looking for ideas at this point. Um, and again, anything we should bring back to the Native Hawaiian Development Program plan. Maybe some of you participated in some of the previous programs and you had a good experience. Tell us, give us your feedback. Um, we want to continue services that matter, that have an impact in your life in the community. Next slide. So next steps. What happens after tonight? So there is a survey that we've asked people to fill out. It is on the website, on the web page, and there's also an email address. So if you want to write something up or just shoot us a one-sentence idea, you can shoot it to the email or attach a PDF file or what have you. Um, but we ask everybody to please complete the survey by May 1. If you already did complete the survey, mahalo. And if something new pops in your head, say a few days later or a week later, fill it out again. It doesn't matter how many times you fill out the survey. What's most important is getting the ideas from you. That's what we want to hear. Then Cedric and I, we're the two-person team. We're going to take this feedback from the survey and base the update write-up on the Native Hawaiian Development Program plan. We will draft that up. Okay, that's our job. We will draft it up based on beneficiary input. Then we will come back for a second round of meetings, hopefully by summertime is our timeline, to reach out again, have everybody access the draft and give us any input at that point. There'll be a 30-day comment period where you can write to us, email us. Again, use I think we're going to have a link for this for the comment period. So anything that pops in your head after you read the draft, let us know. 30 days. And then we will make final adjustments and send it off to commission by the fall for their final approval. And the reason the timeline is the way it is we're trying to get to the opening of legislative session by January 2027 so that we have some real specific data and information to take to the legislature for the department's budget request. So that's why between now and the end of this calendar year, that is our timeline to turn around this updated plan with your feedback. So we've got something specific that we can take to the legislature and other potential funders starting in the new year next year. Okay, next slide. Oh, and I think that's the end of the presentation. Cedric, I'm going to hand it back to Cedric for the Q&A part.
Thank you, Gigi. I have dropped into the chat the link to the website. It's the same link that you got the registration for tonight's meeting, and I also put in there the email address. It's DHHL at kalaimoku.com. That's KAL KALAIMOKU.com. I should know my email address. But if you do want to correspond with us, you can correspond with us through the email as well. And so I do want to take a moment to allow for Q&A on this call. And so if anyone has any questions, and for some of you who came late, this is the Native Hawaiian Development Program plan. So we aren't necessarily going to be able to answer questions related to homestead development or the $600 million or any of the projects that the Hawaiian Homelands is initiating right now. We're going to talk mostly about the program's accomplishments and highlights and any new ideas that you guys may have. So if anyone has any questions at this time, if you could use the raise hand feature, and then after we kind of go through the hands raised, I'll kind of open it up a little bit further. Okay. I don't see anybody raising hands, so I'm gonna just pause and oh, Uncle Mango, I see you raise your hand. Please unmute and ask your question or state your comment.
Yeah, hello,
Hello.
Cedric and Gigi.
Hello.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be in regards to this thing, not to the other part as you were saying. But the problem, one of the things that I want to talk about is when you're looking at all of these past, at least for the last 7 years that I've been a part of this, when you start talking, when you mentioned that you're using the beneficiaries, that we're supposed to be heard and that we're supposed to be a part of this. I have to say that um, I've said it in many meetings before. Is we've been treated like we've been there to be seen but not heard. I got a lot of different times that I've been to these meetings that when the meeting comes out later on and the things are reported, it's not reported what the beneficiary said in our meeting. That I'll speak for Molokai mostly, but even on Maui when I was over there. So when you're talking about the funding and advocacy, especially advocacy and what was the other word? You were talking about giving us the administrative stuff that we're to be doing. You know, when we want to do advocacy, if especially if we're going to be dealing with things like legislature and all of that, which we all want to do, we got no problem with doing that. But funding is the biggest problem. So right now, I mean, what I do see, and I'm not talking about the 600, but I am saying that there was money that came to the department that would have helped the department to have more people in place to be doing certain things. Now, if you want the beneficiaries to do that, we have no problem. And I'll speak for the many beneficiaries that I've spoken with, and that is the fact that we have no problem doing this because this is our aina. You know, the land is a beneficiary land. Gigi is correct by saying that it is a state entity. The DHHL is a state entity, and it's under their purview and all of that. The land is actually it's our aina, and so we should have a say, not only in what it says in the Senate and in all of that, but we need to have a say. We need to have more of a say in all of these different so-called regional plans, all the different plans. We've looked over the regional plans many times. We've looked over, and yeah, of course, this particular one hasn't been for 10 years, so nobody's been able to change anything like that. But when you look back at what was said, not for something that's 10 years old, say like the Molokai regional plan, how old that one is, things have changed drastically from those days till these days. Who knows that better? Who knows that better than the people of Molokai, than the beneficiaries of Molokai? So not mentioning or pointing fingers at anybody, but we need to have this has been said so many times, so I don't know. I hope I'm not speaking to deaf ears on anybody's part. The beneficiaries need to be on the table, at the table, in the rooms for all of these different things. We cannot be left out and we cannot be not listened to. Cedric, you know, and I have had some conversations. I know you understand what I'm saying. And I know that your heart is the same way. And it probably, I don't know if it's the department that holds people hostage over us or what, but I don't know. But we've got a lot of stuff to say about Molokai, and things are happening right now on this island that we have no say about. And it's this particular fund, this particular thing that Gigi was mentioning, the fund or this program that should be in place so that the beneficiary of the Molokai can say, no, you know what? This is what we want, not what the so-and-so wants, not just because even if they work for the department or even if they work for some other corporation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And you know, and to that point, Uncle, you know, that's why Gigi and I are doing this set of meetings the way that we're doing it. And we've tried to give ourselves enough time to have this initial conversation, come back out to the community one more time to make sure that we are reflecting the community input into the plan. And if we need to make updates, we can make updates in the comment period before we take it in front of the commission. So thank you very much for chiming in. Uh, okay. And then Jojo, I see that your hand is up, so I want to acknowledge you if you could unmute and ask your question or make your comment. And then Kainoa, I'm going to come back to your question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Jojo, and I come from Kauai on the Big Island. And I see on the Hawaiian Homes Commission again, they're going to talk about the geothermal. So if we are looking for funding or a source of funding, the part I don't understand about the geothermal is what part of those incomes will the beneficiaries be able to access as opposed to general public? Because all of the public outreach, the information that has gone out to everybody, all the general public, is the benefits to the general public. So even on the beneficiary side, we're still trying to figure out what part goes to the beneficiaries because they're going to use Hawaiian homelands. So there's no designation for the beneficiary. Now, our community, we've been sitting 40 years because we need water. And before you do anything else, it's all going to erode into the ocean because of all these storms and whatnot we've had, at least over the last 40 years I'm talking about. So my question is, how can we get you guys to help us figure out how all of us in the state can get a benefit? We're the beneficiaries, yeah, in the community. But they will not address that information. They are addressing how you're going to take care of the general public. But this is Hawaiian homelands, and it's supposed to go to the beneficiaries. Okay, what part is for the beneficiaries? Thank you.
Okay, Jojo, so if I'm hearing you correctly, your question is, if the department does pursue geothermal development, it would be nice if there was some type of explanation to the beneficiary community as to what benefits from those revenues will come directly to beneficiaries.
This is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
I cannot answer that question here in this meeting for the Data Plan Development Program Plan, but it is a good question. Gigi and I will send it through. But for everyone's information, this subject matter is on the upcoming Hawaiian Homes Commission agenda next week, Monday and Tuesday. The packet is available on the department website.
True, and it's going through the legislature. So, if
Yeah.
it becomes a volition, then what part belongs to the beneficiaries that we can access? Everything else is going away and it's getting less of. But this is a generous amount of money that's being generated on Hawaiian Homes. Thank you, Cedric.
Yeah, I hear you on
Thank
the
you,
question.
Gigi. Okay.
Thank you, Jojo. Kainoa, I'm going to read out your question and then Gigi's answer in the chat, and then I'm going to go to Jeremy and then Jade afterwards for their questions. So Kainoa's question in the chat is, what opportunities exist for homestead beneficiary associations to receive funding or technical assistance through the NHDPP in order to strengthen community leadership and implement programs in their homestead regions. Can you state what grants HBA can apply for? So Gigi's response here is that the grants program has been ongoing for many years, and DHHL grant applications are on the grants webpage. I'll see if I can get that and put it into the chat in a second. As there's Zoom meetings and technical assistance is available as resources allow, although it is limited. So, in short, there are grants available. They're not necessarily for homestead beneficiary organizations. However, as part of this conversation for the NHDPP update, if you think that's a good idea for the department to initiate as a program under the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan, it would be great if there were uh, grants or funding available for HBAs to strengthen community leadership and implement programs in their homestead regions. Please submit that in through the survey, because that's the type of feedback that we're looking for tonight, or until May 1st, until May Day. Okay? Thank you
Mahalo.
for the thank you. Thank you for the
Mahalo, Cedric.
question. Yeah, mahalo kay Noah. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna have Jeremy and then Jade after. So Jeremy, if you could unmute and ask your question, appreciate it.
All right. Hey guys, Jeremy Makepa. I'm out of Anahola. I'm the board president of Aina Alliance. Hearing the questions and stuff, I feel like I can answer a lot of questions for people who don't know a lot about the funding, because our nonprofit was able to take advantage of several grants through Hawaiian Homes. So I'll just share some of my experience through this process. In around 2020, I started doing some fire mitigation work for the fire department. I'm a fire captain here, 22 years on Kauai, and Anahola was a major fire hazard for our department, mostly because of the dumping, homeless problems, and criminal activities that was happening in unmanaged Hawaiian homelands. So we started a nonprofit that could kind of take care of that problem, because you need beneficiary involvement to make anything happen, and beneficiaries need money to make it happen. So the tool that you use is creating a nonprofit. I think homestead associations can also apply for the grants, but a nonprofit, especially if you have a 501c3 status, you can also pursue other funding sources to complement the DHHL grants. Long story short, we were lucky enough to have the right timing with the Anahola Regional Plan, so that groups of us who had the same ideas could voice our opinions in that Anahola Regional Plan, and it made it into the updated regional plan and became a priority project. So because it's a priority project in the regional plan, you get more points on your grant application for funding. So you effectively planned out in the regional plan what you want to accomplish. You write the grant to implement the plan that you wanted to do, and you figure out how much funding you need to do it. And if you're good enough with the paperwork, the massive amounts of paperwork that you need to submit for a DHHL grant, then you get passed through, and then it's reviewed, and if it's good enough, then you get funding. So we were able to take advantage of that for the last couple of years, and we've been making huge strides in cleaning up Anahola. So I just wanted to share that the funding does get used if you have the right timing, the right people, and you understand the system. You can get funding for things that you want to do. So just wanted to share my experience on that.
Mahalo, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. Jade, I see that you have your hand up, so I'm going to ask you to unmute and go ahead.
Right on. Aloha, mahalo, Cedric and Gigi. How are you guys doing?
Good.
I just want to say I agree with Mango as well. You know, it's frustrating when we're not a part of the consultations and then things come behind the scenes. And so My whole thing here is that I wanna open up a new proposal to you folks for a new program. And what I've done is I've been educating our beneficiary on the East End. So on top of that, I'm the founder of WAQ Community Development Corporation. And one of our missions is to help in economic and sustainability for educational training. So with that said in mind, I want to be able to help our people. And hey, shh, babe, excuse us. So financially teaching our beneficiaries to prepare and create their generational wealth, to pay down their mortgage 12 to 19 years, and afford their property tax, because we know the property tax is an issue once it starts to evolve after the 7 years. Teach them to build their down payment before the mortgage, eliminate their debt, learn tax-free tools. There's tools out there because we know the taxes will rise, right? Open trust for protection and entrepreneurship to support them to sustain their finances. And so prevention is the protection, right, that the DHHL and the leasing will have. And when you're prepared for a bad storm like the storm we're coming or coming to us, that action stops something negative or reduces risk, right? So it's a proactive approach focused on keeping people financially healthy for their succession. I mean, it works full circle. And so I offer that. What I did not put in my survey is that I do not charge for my services. I'm a volunteer to help our beneficiaries and the community that is embedded with our homesteaders, right? And so I have completed 4 workshops on the East End. I'm doing another one, a 5th one. It's proving successful to help them open their eyes on things that were never taught. School systems doesn't teach us nothing. So I'm a licensed life insurance, accident, health insurance agent, and we go out and we educate people in this capacity. So I just want to bring that up for the record on this Zoom. And thank you for that opportunity that I could put it in, but I completed my survey. So thank you.
Mahalo, Jade. Thank you so much. I do see that Kainoa has another question in the chat, so I'm just going to read that out for everybody. Question is, how can DHHL improve accessibility of its grants program so that smaller beneficiary-led organizations and homestead associations can successfully apply for and manage NHDPP funded projects? Jade said Kainoa says she's submitted and has been circulating to other beneficiaries to provide input to this survey. They want to get more mainland beneficiaries to provide their mana'o. Can DHHL look at smaller grant pots instead of pushing for different grants all at the same time? I think that's definitely the kind of the feedback that we want to see. If there is even more specific and granular information that you want to submit as far as suggestions for how the grants, other possible grants, I think that's great. So it's definitely the kind of feedback that we're seeking in this beneficiary consultation, for ideas, for any other things that might, speak to the Native Hawaiian Development Program Plan. So thank you, Kainoa.
Can I add something?
Gigi, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add something. We've had specifically the capacity building grant for a very long time. It's been at a level of $5,000. So it's a good little small grant that not too many other funders do anymore. They used to, but we're one of the few that do. But it's to help those, it is specifically to help those smaller organizations get organized, board training, strategic planning, kind of get started in becoming a nonprofit and their early stages. And we increased that budget to 20,000 per application because the beneficiaries came to commission several times and advocated for it. So we've been running it at $20,000 for the last 2 years at least. And we actually have not been getting many applications. It has been underspent even before when it was even small at $5,000. it was underspent. So we're able to save the money and move it to other grants, but if there are smaller organizations out there, we'd love to see them come in. So if you have ideas on outreach efforts, the grants are always announced at the commission. They're posted on the state hands website, which is available to the whole entire public. We do direct emails to board presidents that we have their email address. So there's been, several outreach efforts, and if we could use more ideas. So, please let us know in the surveys, any other ideas we can do to kind of reach some of these audiences, and especially that capacity building grant, because it is the small grant to get people started. If they're reorganizing their board, or starting up brand new, that's exactly what that is for. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, and then Gigi, it looks like we're getting some good feedback in the chat about potentially staggering how we issue the grants. And even one suggestion from Sybil here to potentially make a rolling grant for the capacity building grant. So I think these are really all good ideas, and that's the kind of feedback we're looking in this consultation. And one last question here, or another question, Kainoa, is there other grant writing opportunities that DHHL has planned? So Gigi, maybe you could talk a little bit about our kind of our thoughts as far as doing some grant writing workshops.
Yeah, we just recently posted the offerings for this year. Again, it takes resources. I happen to be able to squeeze out some budget, so we're going to be able to offer 3 classes. And those have been posted on the website, locations, dates. In fact, the registration for the Kapolei class is now on there on the website. So, and the Kapolei class, we held that last year, and it was so um, well received that I had to turn people away. We didn't have enough space to accommodate all the people who wanted to sign up. And in fact, Neighbor Islands even flew in on their own. It was that important to them.
Gigi,
So we're trying to offer that one specifically, but I just don't have the budget. I can only do 3 this year. So.
Gigi, which is it on the grants website?
Yes. You
Um,
sent the link, right?
I'll drop it in there again, but
Okay. Yeah, it's
it's
on. It's
it's on
live.
there. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just drop it in there, right? Okay. Um,
Yeah, so that is the one workshop we're bringing back from Kulia, because it's a popular workshop, and I figured, we I know, like Jeremy Makepa said from Anahola there, there's many other funders, so this is a generic training. It's not a specific one just for the DHHL application. It can be used for any funder, to practice and how to write good proposals. Um, yeah, so it's a good one. So that's the one, if I've got money, if I've got budget, that's the one that I'm trying to offer, trying to get it offered again
thank you,
from the
Gigi.
old Coolio program.
Thank you, Gigi. And there's also some feedback in the chat that the it would be great if the grants program, some of the applications were a little easier. And just kind of going back to the website, are these old grants on the website too? Like on the bottom of the website, can people see the old grant applications or grant requests and things like that? Is that all on the same page that I put in there? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, got myself mute. Yes, they are, and the commission submittal is on there as to what we awarded in the past with a description of the project and who the homestead was. The grant applications, the old ones are on there. The Zoom, we're required to do Zoom grant orientation meetings to the application. The recordings are on there, as well as previous years, because at the bottom is the archives. Yeah.
Thank you, Gigi. Jade, Uncle Mango, I see that you guys' hands are up, but I do want to pause and just give others an opportunity to ask questions and then come back to you folks. So if there's any questions, if anyone wanted to raise their hand, and then we can go back in. Oh, was somebody try to unmute?
I did. I
Okay,
wanted
no, go ahead. Yep.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to take, but on the grant side. So part of my question was, is this just posted on the website? Because I think one of the things that I hear a lot is the fact that it's on the website, but there's not really any other option. So it's like you kind of have to guess or hear word of mouth that these types of grant programs are happening. And so I guess my question would be, how is the department reaching out to other to the beneficiaries? Are you going by, emails that had been
Email, yes.
submitted? Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah, and we announce it, a couple of times at the commission meeting, so it's public, those are public but emails, yeah, we've been emailing, yeah.
Yeah, and kind of, if I'm hearing you correctly, it would be great if there was a little bit more publicity to kind of just get the word
Sure.
out greater. So I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna come back around. Jade, you were first, then Uncle Mango next. So go ahead, Jade.
Yeah, thank you again. So I just want to say that we, Wakio Community Development Corporation, took advantage of the building capacity, and we worked with Gigi, and it was such a blessing for us because we were just starting up. And it got us to really get into the community of the East End for Maui and get out there, do the coconut wireless, but get flyers out. We got the programs that we could purchase, like our Zoom account and so forth. We needed supplies. We needed all these things to make what you guys see, our master plan, together, because it really took not just the nonprofit, but also, we work so close with G70 and Julie Cachola and Andrew. So that is, thank you. We need it. So I just want to, praise you guys on helping us get that through, and look what we are, right now. So thank you very much for that. I just wanted to share and encourage that. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Jade. Uncle Mango.
Yeah, mahalo. I wanna my hats off to both Jade and to Jeremy for I'm not saying that the department doesn't do anything. I just want you guys to make sure that what I do want to mention I kind of want to piggyback a little bit on what Jade said on her other one, and that is my question would be how, I'll put this directly to the NHDPP. How is the NHDPP supporting beneficiaries who remain on the wait list? That's something that, that's really what I wanted to ask to in the beginning, because including programs that will help the families prepare financially, socially, even if we're going to be off grid or whatever it is, but to prepare them for that so that they can have successful homesteading. In this day and time, things have changed, like I said. So a lot of people, you know me already, and everybody else pretty much knows me. I want to go off grid. Or go off grid. We don't have to wait for infrastructure. We don't have to wait till years and years. Just like Naiva, 1980 something, they got their land, but they end on the land because there's no infrastructure. I rather just go off grid because today you can do it much easier than you did 5 years ago. But we need programs as well as what Sybil was talking about, everybody in like capacity building already or whatever it is, but these kind of trainings, and that's why I think it's for HDPP to do the trainings. But we need to also focus as much as those homesteads that are here now on every island, but also on the wait listers that should be coming up in the near future. You've got a whole bunch of projects in the makings right now, like on Maui, Big Island. They're going to be people coming in pretty soon, but are they ready? That's the thing. We need to have programs. We need to have strategies. We need to have there's so many questions. Well, let's put it this way. I think everybody has mentioned it on the chat, and the beneficiaries have a lot and a lot and a lot. I guess that means a whole lot of questions that we just don't get answered all the time, because when we want to speak, when we want to say something, later on the time runs out and we don't get to get the answer. So again, a program that would have the training probably would answer all of those questions ahead of time for many of the beneficiaries. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because NHDPP is one of the few program places where Hawaiian Homelands can provide programs and services for people on the waiting list. So I'm glad you brought that up. I think technical training is something that we've certainly heard in the time that we've gone out to the community last couple of weeks, Gigi and I. And if I'm hearing you correctly, would be great if there was technical training if for some of these project leases, if they want to get advice on how to go off grid, in addition to the financial literacy training, just other technical trainings that might be beneficial for you. So I think those are really great ideas.
I just want to expand a little bit more on what you just said. When it comes to off grid, everybody hears about what you can't do.
Sure.
Over the last 2 years, I can tell everybody what they can do. It's a complete different world out there. For me, I believe it would help the department get more people on their homesteads sooner than later. But
So
mahalo,
noted.
mahalo.
Yeah, so noted. Thank you, thank you. Jeremy, I see you have your hand up.
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to comment on Uncle Mango's vision, because we kind of identified that off-grid thing as a need here in Anahola, because we have like 100 kuleana lots coming up for issuance. So we wanted to create a program to help waitlisters who are on that program. So I actually did write a grant for that. We're in the development process of that off-grid program here on Kauai. So we're just looking at different off-grid aspects, clearing land, housing opportunities, agricultural stuff. So we're actually developing that plan, and the idea behind it was, once we get that program going, that template can be shared to the other islands. So that's an opportunity that any nonprofit or organization could submit a grant for through the DHHL programs, and then I can actually admit that we did get funding for that, and we're working on it right now. So yeah, just letting you guys know.
Right on, Jeremy. Thank you so much. And Jade, I do see your note here in the chat. Thank you for that as well. And Kaino, your last one, I got that also. Thank you very much, you guys. I want to pause here and give any other space for other voices who might have questions or comments or concerns. If you didn't have a chance to ask your question, GGR and I are here. We want to make sure that we answer anything for you. And if you think of a question later, you can email me at dhhl@kalaimoku.com. You can correspond with us there, and you can ask questions. And as mentioned earlier, we have the survey open until May 1st, and you can submit more than one response. So like if you submit one, like Jade, you submitted one earlier, but if you have another idea down the road, you can go ahead and submit it again. So we have from now till May 1st. And so with Kamehameha Schools rescheduling the song contest, if you happen to be watching song contest on May 1st, hey, this is the deadline for the DHHL program as well. So make sure that you guys get your comments in. Anybody have any other thoughts or mana'o that would like to share here? Okay. If not,
I
once
had
again,
let's
let's see. Oh, where is
in
that?
the
Where is
chat.
that?
Sorry.
Oh, hey, Kainoa. Go ahead. Just shoot them out.
Okay. Just to round out tonight, I mean, it's been an hour, so thank you, and just mahalo you guys for enduring. But what's DHHL's long-term vision? What do you see, Gigi, as that, we always talk long term. I think oftentimes a lot of these beneficiary input, when can we see them implemented? But, really primarily how to look at a more collaborative approach. What do you see in terms of like the change that we can apply as well as DHHL to work side by side? I think a lot of times, the approach is it's almost like adversarial. And we are definitely in a moment where Kaka'o is really that forward movement. So what can you impart to us that would be part of DHHL's plan to utilize NHDPP in a way that's more collaborative?
Well, this is I mean we're slightly changing it now where this is the first time we've done a survey. We've not done a survey before. So please help us with getting the word out. We want to get as many surveys in because this plan it's been long overdue for an update. So definitely the survey is the instrument. And then based on that survey, we will prepare the draft update to the plan. Then we'll come back out. So we're actually doing two sets of meetings. Before the BCs were just one meeting and that's it, wham bam, and go to the commission. But we are taking the time to do as much listening as we can. So that's definitely changed to open up the conversation a little bit more than we have in the past. So survey first, then we draft the update to the plan by summer, come back out for summer for input again on the draft, then the official 30-day comment period, another opportunity for input, and then to commission by the fall to get ready for the January 2020 legislative session. So, there's not gonna, that gives us a realistic timeline, to, again, see the themes across all the entire state, the different islands, because remember, this is a statewide plan, statewide strategic program plan. So while we understand the different islands and the different homesteads, have specific needs, we're going to draw out the themes statewide, and that is what gets into the draft. So very important to also participate in the draft. When we're on island, we've been staying overnight. Not flying out right away. So one meeting went till 10 o'clock, and we're fine with that because we want to hear from the beneficiaries. That's our main goal. That's why we're doing all these different things to do that. And then, off to the ledge we go in January, and let's see what happens in terms of our budget and our funding and what we're able to actually implement on the ground. That's the big question mark. We can take as many in as many ideas as we can and write it up, do the best we can. But in order to do that, we need help from you guys, from beneficiaries, from organizations. Oh, and you can submit the survey as a homestead organization. If your board wants to get together and have a conversation and fill out the survey as an organization, do that as well. Send that in of, our association wants this. We would like to see this. That's an opportunity for you folks as well. So, if there are, I encourage if you have additional outreach methods and suggestions, let us know. We've been trying to be very open as we can. We set up a specific web page for this process. It's been on the website for a while. The grants webpage we started at least a year ago, if not more, a couple of years ago, I forget. So everything's out there. Everything's out there. And hopefully as accessible as we can.
Thank you, Gigi.
Thanks, Gigi.
Okay, so I'm going to make one last plug to please complete the survey by May 1st. Please send the link to the survey to your ohana or friends who may be on the waiting list or other homesteaders. As Gigi mentioned, we're trying to get as big a sample as we can and see what great ideas are out there in the community that might meet the needs and the challenges of the beneficiary community today. So much has changed since 2014 as far as needs, as far as technology. I think there's a lot of great input that could be brought in from the beneficiary community. So we stand ready to hear from all of you. So if you can get those surveys in, appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody for making time to join us this evening. And we'll be updating the website, with this meeting as well as all the presentation and materials so that you can go back and review it later. And feel free to email and contact us if you have any questions or concerns. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening and aloha.